All right, so let's talk about creating a marketing plan for a law firm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean, I guess, first things first, what are the most important things that you need to even start creating?
Well, I question, honestly, guys, to what degree most law firms either have a marketing plan or potentially even feel like they have one, but maybe they don't in the way that we're thinking about it. So I actually think that really for any business, not just a law firm, I think that creating a marketing plan starts off with understanding what actually is considered a marketing plan and what isn't, right? So, to me, there's 4 to 5 things a marketing plan ought to do to truly be called a marketing plan, right? It should tell you, or it should say what you're doing, when you're doing it. It should say what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And what you think it's going to result in, right? So what you're doing, when you're doing it, how much it's going to cost, and what you hope it accomplishes, right? And there's kind of a fifth thing that I think is a bonus. And that's it should ideally organized in some sort of categorical way, right? Like different types of marketing, and you could have 10 categories, you could have 3 categories, but on a marketing plan, you might want to separate, if you're doing any digital ads or Google ads, social media ads, you might want to separate that from any referral marketing you're doing. So I like to see a marketing plan also create some sort of separation of categories, but really that's just a bonus, right? What you need a marketing plan to do is tell you, this is what we're doing, this is when we're going to do it, this is what we think it's going to cost, and this is what we think it's going to accomplish.
All right, so I have this ridiculous saying, I say it all the time, words mean things. I mean, this thing is a behemoth. If you decide you're going to do a marketing plan, it's going to be a behemoth. It's just this big monster in front of you.
Yeah.
Now, is there a difference between having a marketing strategy and having a marketing plan? And do you need one prior to the other?
Well, I mean, the problem with a marketing strategy can mean a lot of different things. So would it be great to define all these things like your message and your brand and all these things? Sure. But I think for the sake of what we're talking about today, all you really need to have an idea of in terms of strategy is who your target market is and what it is you're trying to sell them. I think that as you start to create a marketing plan, you do need to decide some strategy, but the marketing plan forces you to do that, right? Like that's the benefit of categories in a marketing plan, because categories aren't marketing categories aren't unique to a business type.
Yeah.
Okay. Marketing categories are universal. What varies is just how they get lumped together. For example, and this isn't really that important, because what matters more is that there just is a plan. Because there is really no right or wrong way to organize the plan. Yeah. But just to give you an example, on social media, there's social media ads, right? So paying for Facebook ads, paying for Instagram ads. And then there's organic social, right? Where you're just posting content on Facebook, posting content on Instagram. On your marketing plan, you might create a category called social media, and everything social media goes into that category, whether it's ads, whether it's organic posts, and heck, you might even include being part of Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups and any proactive efforts you do there. Or you might say, no, I'm going to have a digital ads category because I'd rather put Facebook ads with Google ads, right? Because Google ads aren't social media, they're search ads. And so you might say, I'm going to put Facebook ads and Instagram ads with Google ads in a category called digital ads, and then my social media category will be all of the non-ad stuff. So it'll be organic. Yeah. But and I could keep going because it doesn't really matter.
I do have a question though.
Yeah, go for it.
No, we have the what the heck is the OS handbook, and they have that great picture of the circle, and it's on all those arrows. and the arrows are pointing in different directions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dysfunctional situation. Then we have the circle there with all the arrows swimming in the same direction. It's a very functional company. Now you have all these channels, all these different platforms. You talk about paper, PPC, organic, and we were looking for referrals, content. How do you ensure that all these channels are going the same direction as the arrows? I mean, how do you align these? I mean, because we have all these different areas you're talking about. How do we make sure the message stays consistent?
It's not that somebody shouldn't worry about what you're saying, but like, I think the bigger problem is a lack of planning overall.
Okay.
So once you have a plan, then you can start to make the plan better.
Okay.
Then you can start to look to align the channels. But I think so it's not that I think the question of alignment in the way you're asking doesn't matter. I think the bigger problem right now is a lack overall of planning.
Okay.
So in other words, my answer to your question
Yeah.
is the way to make sure you get like strategic alignment
Yeah.
aligned
Yeah.
or the way you get your
Nailed it.
messaging and your branding aligned
Yeah.
is you start by having a plan so you can even see what needs to be aligned in the first place.
All right. So you talk about a prerequisite. So this is
Exactly.
The
I
cart and
think
the horse and the horse and
yeah.
the cart situation.
And kind of going back to what we were talking about categories, like the other example I was thinking of is okay, so I just talked about how social media could bleed into digital ads, which then bleeds into search ads, which could then bleed into a category just around search.
Yeah.
So when you think about like SEO and organic search, like people finding you on Google naturally, do you want that to be lumped with Google ads? So now you have like a search category, right? Or would you prefer, that ads be separate? The point is, right? Because I don't want to like confuse anyone listening, is it actually doesn't matter.
That was my next question.
Yeah,
Like
it
how
doesn't. It doesn't. So what I was trying to say a minute ago is by just deciding categories for yourself in general, whatever way they make sense to you, the reason that's kind of the bonus to a good marketing plan is now you can look at these categories and you can use those categories to kind of stimulate your own mind on like, what else could we do in this
Right.
category?
Right.
Okay. All right. Or are we okay not doing a lot in this category? Right.
Yep.
Okay. So if you just figure real quick, like, we can come up with 5 or 6 right now. It's like, okay, you've got referral, right? You've got, I would probably do digital ads. So Google and social media all fall in there. Then I would have another one that is like social media, so all of the organic stuff. Then I'd have one that's all email marketing, any kind of email marketing, whether it's email that you're sending to your own list, or if you have opportunities to actually do paid lists or email marketing through like a third party. And then really from there, like you frankly, you could stop there and then you just have an other category that's your catch-all. So you could put print marketing in there, you could put TV and radio or podcasting in there, or you could say I want print to be its own category.
So what are you
right?
thinking are the core? I mean, the core, the absolute basics. We're talking about email, talking about social media, and you talk about Google Ads. I mean,
yeah. I'm sorry. I guess I would put one more in the ones that I just listed off.
Yep.
I'd probably have like an organic,
Yep.
like an organic
Okay.
search category. So that's where you could include SEO. That's where you could include some of these directories that are
Right.
out there, like lawyer.com and stuff like that.
So for anyone whose head's about to explode with the 20 different things that we're talking about, it's like that's where we start. Right?
Well, is it about like preference? But is it just as long as you have a plan? Like that's the idea.
I think that's the point I'm trying to drive home.
yeah.
I'm kind of getting into the weeds of these categories. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't matter a ton.
Okay.
I think it's valuable to define 4 or 5 categories so that you're, number one, able to organize your marketing plan better, and number 2, so that you can use those categories as a method of almost like reverse engineering your marketing plan.
Yep.
So I've now got these 4 or 5 categories, and now I can say to myself, what do I want to do in this category? If I just said, hey, let's build a marketing plan, what marketing do you want to do?
Yeah.
That question might be harder for some. But if I said, okay, do you want to do any digital ads? Do you want to do social media? Do you want to do any print marketing? Do you want to do any email marketing? Do you want to do any referral marketing?
Yep.
Right? Okay. So I just think that's helpful.
Okay.
But if we kind of zoom back to the beginning though, because to me, categories are still a bonus, right? I think the most important thing for a marketing plan is that you can answer 4 questions.
Okay.
Right? Well, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
When are we going to do it? What do we think it's going to result in, and how much is it going to cost? Right?
Sure.
So I think like that's the place to start.
Yep.
If you can answer those 4 questions, do it in any format you want. It could be a Google Doc, a Word doc. It could be a
Right.
spreadsheet. It could be something fancy. But if you can get that in some sort of written form, like that's step 1 to creating a good marketing plan.
Yeah, and so like what you were saying, the point you're trying to drive home is really that you need to have the marketing plan. It's not like Eddie was trying to like talk about, okay, well, which categories do you need? But it's purely like preference, and the reason why I say that is because I remember in the 2024 Legal Marketing Trends Report, one of the stats on there was that like a third of law firms don't even have a marketing plan, and that's an outstanding number.
And I would bet you that it's more than half that actually don't by our definition.
That's true. That's also very true. Yeah,
right. So because the 2/3 that are saying they did, what do they consider that to be?
that's also very true.
But nonetheless,
So
Yeah.
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of leeway to move. I mean, we're talking about, so if we can answer those 4 questions, a lot of leeway in terms of execution. I mean, imagine you have a plan. 6 months after using the plan, how do you know whether it's working?
yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, so I think that like that kind of dives into the point of like, okay, great. So like talk about like how to maintain your marketing plan, right? So great. You've built a marketing plan, and actually let me comment real quick on that on the side of building a marketing plan, because I don't want to. You had asked earlier, Eddie, if kind of almost like how much of an undertaking is this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually want to camp out for another minute on what it looks like to build version 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Then-
walk away with what version 1 looks like. When
Then,
it's done.
then let's talk about, I have version 1. Now what do I do with it on an ongoing
All right, let's
basis?
get to version
right?
1.
But I think version 1 is going to be hard for a lot of people, but I think
Yeah.
we can make it easier
Sure.
for them, right?
Absolutely.
So you've got these 4 questions to answer, and I think that the first thing is, what marketing are we going to be doing? And that's why kind of a minute ago when I was explaining the value in categories, part of my point was categories help make answering that question easier.
Yeah.
Of what are we going to do? Because
Yeah.
now you can ask ourselves, are we going to do any email marketing? Are we going to do any digital ads? Are we going to,
It's the beauty of the categories
yeah.
right there.
I mean, yeah, you could even just have a category for content if you prefer to roll
Yeah.
blogging and things like that into one category. It doesn't really matter. Just whatever. To be honest with you, what I would do if I was a business owner is I would just do whatever categories make sense to my brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You can also change the categories 3 months later, 12 months later, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think you start with get everything down that you're planning to do in the next 6 to 12 months.
Check.
Okay. And if it's not a lot, then that probably means one of 2 things. It either means you don't have enough marketing going on, which in that scenario, what you ought to do is you ought to think through what kinds of marketing would I like to do. And if you can't answer that, what you really should do is put placeholders. You could literally put, I want to do something in Q2, but I don't know what I want to do yet. I just don't feel like I'm going to be doing enough then.
Yeah.
So you can literally put empty placeholders there, and now that becomes a to-do for you or someone on your team that we need to find something, right? So put in what you'd like to do, and if you can't do that, just put in something that, even if that something is need to do something here,
Yeah.
right?
And that just helps break it down. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes like this, what could be to some people as like this mammoth idea of like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And literally just put whatever and then work that out.
Because now that you have this written plan, or a visual plan, you can look at it and say, yeah, you know what, we're not doing enough in Q2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And traction
So
might answer what quarter two is going to look like based on quarter one. I mean, you just get moving.
It could, yeah, because you'll also end up stumbling along. You'll come across a lot of marketing that can be ongoing, and so you go, well, we could always be doing this, right? If you figure out how to start doing ads like Facebook ads or Google ads for your firm, and you find that that's effective, you might pencil that in for quarter three. But the truth is, if it starts working in quarter three, that'll just be something you keep doing after that, right? But look, if you don't have enough marketing as you're creating it, it means one of two things: either you truly don't have enough, which we just kind of walked through. The other thing it might mean is that you're not thinking of everything you're actually doing.
Right.
Okay. So that's another reason I like the categories, right? Like, because you might look at the referral category, and that might help you remember that, like, you actually do birthday cards once a year, or you do holiday cards. Like there are things that you do to stay in touch with your network, or maybe you're part of a few bar associations or chambers of commerce or networking organizations that you go to, that you build relationships that could become referral relationships, and you might not just think of that as marketing when you're doing it.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people say I don't do any marketing, but when you ask them those questions, oh yeah, I've been doing that.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
Very
So I think, again, there's a good chance when you're creating your marketing plan, you just haven't actually written down everything that you're actually doing. And again, that's where the categories the categories help. The other way to get what's true today down on your marketing plan is to just look at all your clients from the last year and just figure out where they came from. Okay, and start reverse engineering that into these categories and into these buckets, right?
Yeah.
You might find that some were referrals from past clients.
Yep.
You might find that some were referrals from other professionals, and you might want to call that two separate categories: professional referral, client referral. Or you could have it be one category called referral, but now you realize in that category of referral marketing, you realize there's two groups that you can get referrals from. There's your clients, but then there's also other professionals, and that might stimulate your brain to think of what you could do proactively from a marketing standpoint to those two separate groups.
Right.
So now even within a category, you might have multiple initiatives or campaigns. No different than in a digital ads category, you might have Facebook ads and Google ads. Those are two separate things. So all of this is just about capturing everything that is true and then starting to look for opportunities to add things you want to try in the future, and or look for quarters that seem light and put something in, even if it's a big fat question mark.
Yeah, and this is the public service announcement part. To tell people you should be tracking where your clients are coming from. I mean, I think so frequently we talk about where are these clients coming from, what avenues. I mean, and they can't answer it.
Yeah. So exactly, and so I think so that's how you create version one.
Yeah.
Frankly, even if it's shitty, even if it's messy, even
and
if
you can adjust it along the way. Don't worry about
Yeah, even if the categories are all screwy and there's things, even if you can't decide if something should be in this category, and you put it in both places, well, just whatever.
Yeah, just do something.
Just start. Because look, and I don't know if this is kind of obvious or not yet, but like, hopefully it is to everyone out there. Like, there's so many quotes out there, right? Like failing to plan is planning to fail. I've talked to so many lawyers over I think this is true in a lot of business, but obviously we work with a lot of lawyers, and it seems like the common occurrence is when business is good, they ignore marketing.
Yes.
And then when there's valleys, that's when they start thinking about marketing. So they start doing some marketing, and then things pick up again. So they start ignoring marketing again. And this cycle goes on and on. So like, this is why having a plan is important, because it helps you avoid those valleys. But the other reason is, and this is kind of where we transition a little bit in the conversation, but like, by planning, you also are going to increase the chance of these things working. Because now you have a plan that you can monitor, that you can optimize. You have a plan that you can check results against. You can look at the end of a quarter like I like to do a marketing plan by quarters.
Yep.
That's my personal preference, and I like to have a rolling year.
Okay.
Right. So at every quarter, I'm adding a quarter.
Right.
That's actually a year out. But frankly, even if a law firm just sat down and mapped out one quarter at a time, right? Like just start with the next quarter, right? And then as you get close to the end of the quarter, create the next. That'd be fine, right? My personal preference is to at least pencil in what you might be doing 2, 3, 4 quarters from now. But you don't have to.
Pencils
right?
have erasers.
You know.
Yeah. And something that you mentioned there, I kind of want to touch on real quick is one of the beauties of having a marketing plan is that you have something to work against. I feel like this whole the people that the 33% that don't even have a marketing plan at all, or however many that don't have the correct marketing plan. They're just kind of shooting for the stars and they don't have anything to really gauge.
Yeah.
Okay, how is this doing? How is it performing?
Yeah. So let's talk about that real quick. So we've kind of talked about, okay, marketing plan should say what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. Yep. Just real quick to comment on the when, because we were just kind of talking about that a little bit. That's why I like quarters, because unless you want to get super specific, like when you want to do something down to the month or the day, it's just so easy to be like, you know what? I know at some point in this next year, I really want to start doing Google ads, or I know at some point in this next year, I really want to start blogging or doing a newsletter. I don't even know if I want to do it myself or if I want to hire a marketing agency like Spotlight Branding to do it, but I know I want to do it. So I'm just, it's Q2 right now. I'm going to put it in Q4.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if that means November or December, but I'm just going to pencil it in. Right.
Yeah.
So in terms of like what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, be as specific as you want on the when, but that's why I really like quarters. And I really like thinking about it as like I'm penciling it in, right? So that it's flexible. To your point of how do I know if my marketing plan's working, or like, what do I do with this marketing plan? This is why the idea of identifying what you think this marketing plan is going to accomplish is important. And I would say this is the most often missed piece of a marketing plan.
I'm ready for this one.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, let's just call it results, right? I think one of the, or better yet, projections.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what I'm getting at. I'll tell you what, a good enough marketing plan will just tell you what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. Yep. An even better marketing plan will tell you what you think it's going to cost.
Yep.
All right. And we can talk about that longer if we need to. I mean, it tends to be pretty straightforward, but having a budget or some sort of projected spend is important.
Yep.
But I think the difference between a good marketing plan and a great marketing plan is projected results.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, this is where we can have a little fun with this.
I'm ready.
Kind of like the categories.
Yep.
Let results mean whatever it needs to mean to you so that you can get it done.
Well,
Okay.
what do you mean? What do you mean?
So if you feel like you can actually project all the way down to, I think this marketing will produce this number of leads, this number of clients, and or this much revenue, or all of those things, great.
Okay.
Great. If you feel more comfortable maybe just saying, I hope this marketing creates X number of clients, just do that.
Okay.
If you feel more comfortable saying, I hope this marketing creates X number of consultations,
Yeah.
right? You just want to have like,
Are more measurable the better? I mean, we talk about
sure.
Yeah.
Like that's true in marketing in general,
right,
right?
of
Like
course.
the
More
more data and the more you know how to analyze that data, the
tweak.
better. But I think a lot of people have data paralysis,
Yeah.
analysis paralysis. So I would say, for the sake of the conversation we're having today, I would again reverse engineer it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I would just say, look, if you're gonna do this kind of marketing, what is it you hope it accomplishes? And I tell you what, even if that's not a number, that's fine. I just want business owners in general, marketing directors in general, every type of marketing you do, there should be some sort of result or thing that you're aiming for from that marketing.
Yep.
And it could be multiple things. Okay. And it doesn't even always have to be numerical. If it can be, great. But even think about what we do for our clients at Spotlight Branding, right? Like we focus on content marketing, which is more of a nurturing activity. We don't necessarily think about number of leads created. We more think about how blogs and social media and email newsletters are helping lawyers stay in touch with their existing network. So there aren't really a lot of measurables within that tell the full story. But if I had a marketing plan, well, I mean, we do have a marketing plan, but if I was a law firm creating a marketing plan and I had like blogs in there and social media in there, I'm probably not putting the goal or the projection. So, I mean, goal might even be a better word than projections, right?
Let's go with goal.
Like, what's the goal of this? Like, why am I even doing this kind of marketing? And the goal might just be, I'm doing this kind of marketing to stay in touch with my existing network and build my reputation. If it can become measurable, great. If we're doing Google ads or Facebook ads, you're probably doing those as more of a lead generation activity. So you might create a numerical goal. But whether it's a number, multiple numbers, or just a written sentence, identify what the intent or the goal is of that marketing. Okay? Again, to go back to the social media example, what we tell our clients is, we don't think a goal of organic social media for a law firm is to generate leads and clients. Does that mean that it can't? No, of course it can.
Absolutely.
But what we're doing in a marketing plan is we're not identifying everything that something could accomplish.
We just want what we want it to accomplish.
Or what we need it to accomplish. Right? Or
And everything after that is icing.
Exactly. And so if we're doing social media and we can agree that the main benefit of social media for a law firm, this might be different in different industries. But we think the main benefit of social media for a law firm is to build your reputation and help you stay in touch with your existing network. And that can lead to more referrals, more repeat business. It can lead to higher paying clients because you kind of built this brand for yourself. But our goal is top of mind awareness, reputation, brand building. So that's what we're going to write in. Okay. So whether we do that or we do a number for something like ads or, even the things you do that are focused on referrals, right? Better yet, how about this? Thinking about, there will be some categories, referrals is probably the big one, where you might actually have little to nothing in it, but you still have a projection. Because even if you do nothing proactively to generate referrals, you still expect a certain number of referrals to come in every quarter, every year. So I still want you to put that in. And here's why, not only for that, but here's where identifying some sort of goal or outcome is critical. Because then what you're going to do with your marketing plan is you're going to track and monitor the marketing activities on that plan against your goals.
There we go.
Okay? Against what you thought was going to happen. So let's go back to that referral example. If you decide to do no active referral marketing, and you think you're still going to get this amount of referrals, well then once a quarter, once a month, whatever, you can check in on that. And if that result's coming in, great. If that result's not coming in, you might say we should maybe do some referral marketing, right? Or you might say that result is coming in and we're doing no marketing. What if we did some marketing, right? Going back to social media, right? It's not a numerical thing, but you're checking in on social media and you're saying, all right, the reason we're doing social media is to build our brand, build our reputation, stay in touch with people. Do we think that's happening? It's a little bit harder to answer, but that still creates the conversation for you to either have in your own head or to have with your team or whoever or whatever vendor you're working with, right? Like my goal of doing this is for these things to happen. Do I feel like they're happening? Should we do anything differently? And then of course, if it's other things like ads or print marketing, I mean, that stuff's, super trackable, right? Like I thought it was going to create this many leads and it did, or it didn't. And so creating some sort of goal, allows you to monitor and track your marketing against those goals.
Yep.
And when something is off track, it means one of two things.
Yep.
Either your goal or projections were too high,
Yeah.
and you simply need to adjust them.
Yep.
And maybe after doing so, maybe that marketing's not worth it.
Yep.
And or you need more marketing on top of it because you thought it was going to accomplish this much, right? And it's only going to accomplish this much, so now you need more. Or it means that marketing is underperforming. Your goal is reasonable, and so you need to change something. And even if you don't know what to change, it would be better to change something than nothing. And that is the beauty of marketing. Marketing is an adventure. Marketing is an experiment. You just try shit sometimes until you figure out what works. But how do you even know if something's working or not if you don't have some sort of expectation of what you wanted to happen?